Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I know I'm back here in the flesh. I'm sure a lot of you did not expect to see me here again on YouTube, but come on. Did you really think I was just going to up and leave and quit forever? No. So, for those of you that have been watching my channel since 2008, yes, I've been doing this for almost 8 years. Just think for a second how many channels that do the same kind of content that I do around games are still around on YouTube. Not many, right? I'm one of the last few that are still around, having done this for almost 8 years. It's a huge commitment. I love doing it. And you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for many years, you know that sometimes I like to take a break from YouTube. 2, 3, sometimes 4 months, I just take a nice break. Because it does get to be a lot of work, and sometimes I need that break. This break, however, was not because I wanted a break from YouTube. I actually took a break because I was burnt out on video games. This had never really happened to me before on this level. It was a culmination of all different aspects, but I had reached a point in my life where I just didn't feel like buying games, playing games, let alone talking about games and making videos about games. I just didn't really care. I think the lead up to that was before I got burnt out on these games. I was playing Smite on the PC, which, when you play those MOBA type games, you tend not to play any other games. So that was giving me a nice break from a lot of the normal games that I would play on consoles. But then once my last semester of college started, I gave up Smite, and then in turn I also gave up all other games. It was so much work, so much stress, I just didn't feel like playing games at all, reading gaming news. The extent of what I would do is maybe play a game of Hearthstone once or twice, every couple of days. Or watch Twitch, but that was about it. I really had no need to buy games. As an example, Fallout 4 came out. I didn't even jump up to go on my computer and order it and have it here day one. And you guys know me, I love those kind of open world, Elder Scrolls, Fallout kind of games. And the fact that I didn't even get Fallout for like a month and a half after it came out, really says something for the kind of state that I was in. And I'm still in recovery, I guess you can say. I'm not fully back into seeking gaming news and, buying games that I want to buy and play. And believe me, there are plenty of games out there that I want to play right now, but I'm not really ready to commit to it. And, other factors such as my grandfather passing away, who was a big influence in my life in terms of getting me into video games. And I have a story about that I posted on Facebook. And I plan on doing a video in the future about talking about how my grandfather influenced me with the games, because I did inherit his games now, and a lot of those are on the Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Sega CD, stuff like that. And I'm going to talk about, games that I was introduced to because of, him having them in his collection. So in his passing, being in the final semester of college, and just all these things were going on, and it was overload. I was going to like 5 different video game conventions in the span of those 6 months, and it was just, I got burnt out. In the past month or two, I've slowly been getting back into it. Games such as Amplitude on the PS4, Dark Cloud on the PS4, the HD re-release. There were a couple other ones like, what is it? Actually, that I just played recently, Firewatch, that I played on the PS4. I downloaded Unravel. I did get in the Fallout a bit. I played it for quite a bit, but once again, I kind of just, I didn't get further enough into it. I kind of just got worn out on it. So it's taking me time to get back into it. And I don't know, I'm just curious if, I'm sure a lot of you have dealt with video game sort of burnout, where I also feel like these days it's kind of depressing in a way when all these new games are coming out, and there's a lot of new games that come out that cost $40, $50, $60, and you buy them, and then a couple months later they're $20, $30 on sale. I mean, it's kind of, it makes you feel bad in a way, being a gamer sometimes, when you buy these games. And it's more true, more so than ever now. When you buy a new retail game, the competition is so fierce that they're putting these games on sale way faster than they used to in the past. So, you're buying this game, and unless you absolutely fall in love with it, and you think that it's worth every ounce of that $60 when you buy it on day one, I don't see a point. I'd rather wait a couple of months and get it half price, to be honest with you. And it's so sad that the price of retro games now are just so through the roof. It's not even fun to collect them anymore. Having gone to these video game conventions, the prices on retro games are just such a turnoff. And I've kind of put a halt on that. And you may have noticed in my previous video, I was getting rid of some of the expensive retro games that I had bought recently because I had no real attachment to them. The fact that I hadn't played them yet, hey, I'm not missing out on anything because I'm not going to miss the game having not played it. So I'd rather sell it, get my money back, and, wait until however long it takes until the market has a fallout, no pun intended that we were just talking about fallout, and just buy these games at a cheaper price. I mean, being a game collector right now it's a really odd time. Everything is so expensive. Modern games, there's so many of them coming out, and it's expensive. I think I've finally gotten to that point where I'm very picky. My choice in game genres has changed. I've definitely noticed that, and I'm sure you guys have noticed that over the past year or two. I no longer like fighting games. I'm not afraid to admit that anymore. Like, I think the nail in the coffin for me was when the Persona fighting game came out, Persona 4 Arena, and I'm a huge Persona fan. I like the Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear type animated, highly detailed 2D fighters, and I thought I was really going to get into Persona 4 Arena. I never did. And then you say like a series like Super Smash Brothers. I picked up the latest one on the 3DS. I even imported it from Japan to play on my Japanese 3DS months before it came out, which I enjoyed quite a bit. I had quite a bit of fun for a couple of weeks. But then when it came out in the US and I bought it on the Wii U, and I also bought it on the 3DS again, I wasn't feeling it. Like, fighting games, I just can't get into anymore. I just feel like the landscape of players that play these types of games are way too competitive. You have people that play them casually, and then you have people that play them for a living, basically. That's all they play are fighting games, like for one series or one game. And then you go online, you just get your butt kicked. And I feel like they're making these games really complex. Like if you look at a Street Fighter game these days, or a Blaze Blue, or a Guilty Gear game or something, for example, there's just so many complex little intricacies. Like the Killer Instinct game on Xbox One, I tried to play that, and my God, like, it looks simple on the outside, but once you get into going through a tutorial, I couldn't even finish the tutorial. They're so complex. Same thing with first-person shooters. Like, I haven't played a first-person shooter that's been able to keep my attention for a very long time. I think the nail in the coffin for that one was when I played the Titanfall beta, and I'm like, oh, how can I not like Titanfall? Giant mechs, fast-paced gameplay, and then I play the beta, and I'm like, I think I'm done with first-person shooters. Like, I'm just not into them anymore. My gaming tastes change, and even Japanese RPGs, I'm having a hard time, not saying I'm out of Japanese RPGs, but I'm just very peculiar and picky now when it comes to what ones I like to play, because if they're overly complex, I just can't get into them anymore. Like, if they're convoluted with side quests and extra missions and tons of talking, and like, I just want a very bare bones Japanese RPG. Like, for example, Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel. I bought that recently. I went into it blind. I was not expecting a huge epic Persona 4 social aspect RPG where it takes 2 or 3 hours of talking and side missions to get back into a dungeon. And it's like an 80-hour game. Like, I just don't really have the patience or time for games like that anymore. Xenoblade Chronicles, or Xenoblade X, or whatever the heck they're calling it, I played on the Wii U. I played it for a few hours, and I was getting into it, but it's just like non-stop introduction of new, different gameplay aspects, which, I'm going to give that one another chance. But just to show you guys that my tastes in games are changing. And as I sort of get back into games and rediscover my passion for them, I just want you to know that there will be certain games that seem like high-profile releases that I'm just not going to play or care about or mention at all on this channel anymore. So if you've always liked my tastes in games, the sort of niche, quirky, weird kind of games, RPGs, platformers, artsy kind of games, adventure games, that's still my main forte. But when it comes to fighting games and shooters and overly complex NIS or Gust or, all these different kinds of Japanese RPGs, there might be a change when it comes to that when I play these kind of games on my channel. Anyway, guys, I didn't want this video to be too long. Thanks again for hanging in there. And you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to record a video right after this one so that, hey, I'm going to have another video ready for you guys right after this one. So be ready for that. Thanks for hanging in there. Hopefully you guys understand. If you want a little bit more of an explanation as to where I've been, just check my Facebook. I have a really long post on there. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in another video here shortly.